Hello and welcome to my craft room. Today I'm inspired to make a journal. It's using a beautiful digital kit by a Jewel Design. And she's on Etsy if you'd like to see this digital, and I will link it in the description box below. Um, it has pinks and beautiful, I'm not sure what you call that kind of a background, like Baroque or something. I love it. I couldn't resist it, so I had to get it. It has doors and windows and Victorian ladies, and it's all about snow. Um, but thank you all for joining me today. I hope to demonstrate a few different ways to use this kit than what you've seen before. I'm also recycling. I'm using this old photo album that I've had for ages. It's like this. This is a smaller version. It has those, clear plastic things inside, and I've scalped this one to where it only had one page left inside of it, but it was pink, and if any of it's showing by the time I go to do the cover, that will work into my design here because it's a perfect pink. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use this craft stock, or cardstock, I mean. It's Craft Smart, and I got it at Michael's at a cheap price. But it's sort of plastic, and I haven't really cared for it, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I made it the base of my pages here. And I took my digital and placed it over the pages, but I've got a few here to demonstrate on how to do what I was going to do, and then we're going to decorate. So what I need to do first is we're going to take this, which is sort of like handmade paper. I don't know where I got it. I've had it for a long time too. It has leaves inside of it. On the back side, we're going to glue this. And I have a few other things I'm going to put along with it. Here's the next page where you can see where I've taken this cardstock that I didn't like, and I ripped the edges of all of them, and this part is going to be in the binding. So what we need to do first is to glue this one in, and I've got a whole pile of snowflakes over here ready to go. I have done pre plans on a lot of the pages, so this ought to go pretty quick. I'm hoping that this is going to stick to this pre-made paper here, handmade paper. If it don't, I might have to go for the fabric tack. Hope everybody's day is going well. My husband, he went up to see his mom and dad. So, me and my stage fright decided to come in here and do video. I won't have no audience, so I won't be so, constrained. I do. I feel better when I don't have no audience or he can't hear me. Probably not that he's listening. He doesn't care. There we go. It seems like that's sticking well. And I took a doily, and I had dyed it back when I did a bunch of my papers earlier this year. And I just cut it in half, or quarters actually. It's cut in quarters. So it must have been a 12-inch doily. And I thought that color went really well with the colors in the kit here. Now what we're going to do next is I have a stamp. And most of the colors that I went around the outside edges and stuff with was Victorian Velvet and Ground Espresso. I did both. But with this one, I needed something a little darker to stand out against this color here, this pink. So I'm using Picked Raspberry. And this is a oxide. And it's very bright, but I think it'll change just a tad once I put it on here. But I knew it would make the lettering stand out really nice. So we're going to push that in, let it soak into our doily. It's got a bit of a grid design on the doily, so we want to make sure it gets in there. And that ought to have done it. There we go. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. Okay. So that is out of the way. And can you see it's still glistening a little bit, so I can't rub at it. But while we're waiting that to dry, we're going to grab us something else. Now these little coins, and I have two of the same little girl here because I printed again the same page to get a few more pockets. You'll see where I'm getting to the next page, what I'm talking about. But I went over them with, what is that? Glossy Accents. It's a real shiny, kind of a gluey type substance that you can get at Michael's. You can probably get it elsewhere. But what I plan to do with it is, of these umpteen snowflakes that I cut out, I'm going to make her the front and center of the little snowflake. So we're going to glue her on there. And she's going to reside on this page, either along the edge, out here, oh, probably right up here. That's the best place for her. So let's get the glue in a little bit on our snowflake till we have somewhere we can put her. And don't need that much, just a few areas up the edges just to catch. Now I've been sitting here for the last little while doing these snowflakes. But since it's shabby winter, we had to take advantage of the winter part. And this page in particular that's on my background here, this came from the Pink Touch of Romance. It's another kit that they have, that Jolene has in her Etsy shop at A Jewel Design. And what it is like a little booklet. And it's got that one background paper, and it went perfect with this kit. That might be something I can link below as well, so you'll be able to find that item when you go shopping at our store. Or just looking. It's always find at window shop. Okay, and I'm going to go back in here and grab a few of those little pieces, because especially the ones on the end, that'll hold the rest of them down. Am I in the shade? I'm sorry. I'm still working in a very rustic environment here. I haven't purchased anything advanced to use yet. It works for me though. As long as you can hear me and see everything well, I think we're going to work out fine. You can do this from home with just a phone. That's all I'm using. All right, we have some silver snowflakes in different sizes. That might be pretty. Oh, yep, down there. So I thought instead of one of these videos where I snap back and forth real quick, you might enjoy seeing a few things that I do up front in real time. Isn't that what they say, in real time? Okay, so I'm going to do one of these. Oops. Right there. And that's all the snowflakes we're going to put on this page. It needed something. I didn't have very much of anything for this page. I didn't print out the page that has all the people, the cutouts. I still may do that. I'm just debating whether I need it. I was trying to use other items that linked in with the winter theme. Especially items I've got on my shelf or in my drawer over there that needs to be used and loved. Oops. Okay. I always like to pat off the excess, especially since I'm flipping through the next one here. All right. I think that's all I'm going to do to that page. I have saying one here. I have some snowflakes. And I have my little character. All right. So now we're going to do the front. This is the front. That was the middle, or the inside of that. Okay. My idea for the front. This belly band come in the kit. And I am going to use her as a belly band, but I'm going to expand on it a little. I've got that lace for the top and the bottom of her belly band. This goes under her belly band. It's a little file folder that was in the kit. And I just inked it with my Victorian velvet on the inside. I also made this, which this outside edge was an angel. And I steered away from Father Christmas and the angels that was in the kit to make this more winter. And it had compliments of the season. It had this banner in it. And what I plan to do is to use the banner as a tuck spot. So I glued it to that point, and then something can just tuck in there. And then I made this ripped edge of music paper to go with it, since there's music notes on several of the pages. All right, so we're going to glue that down first. And all of this glues. And I'm hoping, or I'm intending to have this span into several videos. I won't be doing it all in one sitting. I will have it over the next week and hopefully have it done by then. And I'm hoping 3 videos might be all I need. It's a small book, but I'm packing a lot in it. Okay, now we're going to, instead of me fighting with the barely art glue, I'm going to go ahead and use fabric tack. You can see that was, I got that at Hobby Lobby in the paper studio when he had stuff on sale. Always looking for a sale. Does anyone like puzzles? I love puzzles. So what I usually do is I will make a game of my digitals and try to find ways to use them that's out of the norm. I don't like to use stuff, as it's supposed to be used, I guess you'd say. I like to try to give it more life and do more with it. And I make a game out of it, and it's fun. All right. I am going to ink my lace here. And I'm going to take and use my dauber out of my Victorian velvet, and we're going to color it up just a tad so it's not white or cream. Actually, it was cream. And if you have lace like this, ribbon, you can color it all with this type of lace, or this type of system. And the more darker you want it, the more you add. That's all it takes. All right. And we're going to glue her down this way first. Actually, since I'm going to go in with fabric tack to put on the lace, I'll just go ahead and do everything with fabric tack. And then I'll know for sure it's going to stick. There we go. I love this little lady. Look at her. Isn't she pretty? She's got her little fox mink there, and got her little clutch purse and her little some poofy thing in her hand. I'm not quite sure what that is, but I love when these things look vintage or aged. All right, getting that a little bit everywhere. Let's see if we can cover it up with this. I have got, I think it'll be easier to do it this way. Okay. Put that down. I'm just trying to debate which way to do it. I think I'll do it on the edge. Okay. Put my lid on it. That stuff can dry up quick, so it's always good to cap it as soon as possible. All right. I'm going here, and if you tap at it with a rag, a wipe, it takes a lot of that excess out, and you won't have that strong glistening look. You know how it's where it looks shiny? That may be a reason that a lot of you don't like to use fabric tack, but yeah, see, you don't even see it in there now. All right, now what we're going to do, we're done with our first page. Here is our little door, which I'm not going to stick that in there quite yet. I'm going to wait for that to dry. Our first page is done. That was quick. First page is done. And our second page is this one. Here's beautiful design. See, it has a little bit of music note there. And this Baroque tapestry, I'm not sure what you call that. But this pretty lady in the pink. And that's our back side. So what we're doing here, I want to tuck. So I've got this, and it's going to be glued. And you can see I used a cover from a book. And it wasn't very thick. And I thought, well, that'll make a nice, strong pocket or tuck layer. And so I just glued some of the digital to it. And it worked. Okay, I'm going to stick it right here on the edge, because right here is where it's going to be into the signature part of the book. Wipe that down. And I have a little collage I'm wanting to put on here. This was a little piece that came off of one of the strips that I had left over. And I'm going to put that here. And it's just a piece of Ponzetta. I think I'll do the edge just a tad because it sort of blends in. So we'll do that. I don't know if you can see that, but I can see where it made it a little deeper. Okay. There we go. I really like this little pink flower edge. I think that's really attractive. So our next step, I'm going to go at a little catty corner with that, and then that's going to be up behind it. So this has to go on first. And I did forget to mention, I'm sorry, the snowflakes that I've been using. Here are two of them. This is a Sizzix design, framelits. I don't think it has a name. I think it just has this number right here, 663169. But I used this snowflake. And I'm going to use this stamp here a little bit later with the circle cuts in a future page. And this is where I got the snowflake saying. And it's got two beautiful snowflakes here that I am in a later one going to use with heat embossing. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. So I wanted to show you a few different kind of ways to decorate up. And especially with things that you have and you haven't used them for a while. Like, I live in a moderate climate where it's all the seasons happen here. So I'm not going to be using snowflake that often. So this is a good time to get it out and start using it when I'm in the season. And of course, if you didn't see this, you know me and my tea bag. I got my little tea bag under my word delightful. Now this word here, it came from, I think it's called, what is it called? It's something else that's on her site. I need to find it when I next do my next video. I'll find the name of that. But this is done. It could be used as tuck. Here was the other snowflakes I used. They're from Spellbinders. And it's Snowflake Splendor. This one did have a name. So that page is done. Next. This page is the one that I printed twice. The pocket page that's in her kit. And she had these little pockets like this. And I've got 2 of each because I think you just use them as a single pocket, or you could put them together to make that type of a pocket and just do the outside edge there, the U shape, and then you got here and then behind to use. Now I decided, or you can use them single, but I decided to do this. I'm putting them on the outside edges of my square here. So you're going to have the option of going in at any angle to put something, but I also thought it looked like the photo corners. Remember the old photo corners from way long back? So I thought that gave me the look of photo corners. Plus you have various ways to use the tucks. Or would this be considered a pocket? Maybe that needs to go under debate. What do you think? Are these considered a tuck the way I'm using them? Or are they considered a pocket? It's always hard to tell. Especially with me having them upside down. Okay, and I'm not going all the way out. I want to see that pretty little ripped edge that I've got. And I was able to rip it because I would take my digital and lay it down to the size that I knew I wanted it to be. And then I pulled the excess against my ruler, and it made this kind of a slight ripped edge. It's not very, very bold. But anything that's ripped like that will catch the ink and hold it really nice. All right, got that done. Oops, that one squares out a little bit. And get that on the outside of this, and then yeah, I saw Lorette, that's Jolene's mom, using this kit in a flip-flop journal on her YouTube, and I just loved it. I don't know, there's just something about it. The pinks and the kind of tans and the ripped shabby. I love it. Okay, anyhow. So I have these buttons, and they were buttons that I got at Walmart. And they were considered an organic button. They're made out of wood, and I thought, oh, well, I can get them, and I can maybe turn them over to the blank side, and I could do napkin on them or anything like that to decorate my own buttons up, and then just repoke the holes. But looking at this, where they've got a white design on them. I thought that would be pretty to just leave it like that. But I am thinking of using a snowflake or two behind it. Ooh, look at that pop. Let me see. Do I want to use a different color? That one's kind of hard to see, isn't it? Oh, I got a pink one in here. Let's try this pink one. Oh, that's pretty too. Okay. The other type of snowflakes I have are this one. And I don't know if you can barely see the edge of that one. So that's not going to work. I don't think we have to use them all. We can just use two. How about that? One on these two different opposite ends. So let me get the glue in those. Now on these little babies, you got a lot of sticky parts. So definitely just get the middle part and a couple of the little jaggies that stick out the farthest. Otherwise you'll be gluing here all day long. There are things out there that are like sticky, two-way sticky, that you could cut them out and have that sticky on them and they're ready to go. You know me, I'm not going to think of that. All right, let me stick that in here. Do a little dabbing. And I'm going to go and use my my fabric tack to glue the button down since it's heavier. And I want to make sure it sticks. Now fabric tack, it glues fast. It doesn't take too long for it to go and stick down permanent. So don't let that fool you and make you not want to try it. It's some great stuff. Especially if you're going to ever do anything with fabric. Or lace. It's a must when you're using anything to do with lace. See, I just keep on gluing. Alright, I think I'm done. Let me put that down here. Pretty, pretty. Alright. You especially want to try to get all of those little peakies down for the time when you're going to turn this. I did go through with a very skinny ribbon and just tie a knot. So once I glue this down, that's going to be glued in. So your ribbon won't go nowhere. Okay. Whoop. See if I can put that in the center and hold down. Come on. There we go. Oh. How are y'all at getting Halloween prepped out? Some of you really go to town on it, I bet. My niece, or my cousin's daughter, she's not really a niece, but she's young enough to be. She used to do a lot of decorating, had a whole yard full of decorations, but since her children have grown up, now they're all in college mostly, she doesn't do it anymore. They were pretty dedicated at doing it each year too. All right, now I'm going to go back in and push down again, because as it's drying, this helps it. I've got that little bit on the back side where I've tied that knot. There we go. I think that's good. The only thing I have to do here is find something to tuck in. I may have to, at the end, make a bunch of tags and such for my cast-offs. I'm always trying to use every little bit that's out of my kit. And that is done. So we'll flip that over. Oh, wait a minute. That's not that way. That goes that way. Next, I added in some of my own papers that I had dyed. Now, this is an envelope that came in her kit. And it glues this way. You glue this to this. And then you can flip the part here down. It's got the beautiful poinsettia on it. And tuck it somewhere. Well, I decided I didn't want to use it like that. Now, me just mentioning that I like to use all the parts and pieces that I've got. These pieces here are from where I cut out this envelope. I had all these strips, and also when I cut tags out of the kit. So I took my cast-offs from my leftover pages, and I've put this on the back side of it, and that's all going to get used with this. This also goes on this side as a tuck, and this will go on my page to help strengthen it. So let's get to working on that. And I figured this page could be used to be written on, or photos to be put in, whatever you would like. And then I had these extra pieces, just so I had it the size that I needed it, you know. So this is what we're going to do here. We're going to glue this down to this page. Which way do I want it? I think I want it that way. And it's going to give my envelope a nice base to be stuck onto. Because copy paper just, I don't think it'd be thick enough. Okay. I love that bubble design. When I put them on my sheet pan to cook them bake them in the oven, they bubbled. That's the best baking I've done lately. Actually, I got a thing of tea out there, my old tea bags, that I need to get to doing another coffee and tea session with some copy paper. But I need to get some paper first. I'm out. It's almost all gone. Okay. My idea here is to glue this to this side so it kind of blends in. So what I think I'm going to use two-sided sticky for this. Okay, I've got my 1/4 inch two-sided tape, or score tape as some people like to say, and we're going to go down this side with it. And I'm going to use it to help stick my envelope down. And then I like to use this to get it a nice clean rip. And let's see if I can use that to pull that up with. Whoops. Let's use the edge of our scissors. Usually I'd do my pokey tool, but that'll work. Let me get that. Got this one little piece sticking over. I don't want that to be a stray. There we go. Now, I'm also going to do a little dab of glue down through here, just to give it added strength. So now what we're going to do is put that down dead center. We can guesstimate dead center. There we go. Did that work? Oh yeah. Now what you want to do is go in here with our credit card and try to smooth that out. It's naturally wrinkly because of you doing the baking, and you can never get it. I don't know, I guess the wet it stretches your paper a tad, so you never get it to where it's not got a wrinkle in it anymore. Now, if you wanted to make this more attractive, you can cut off at your corners, which I believe I will do, up to my envelope. There we go. I went from the corner of my strip. This little strip that I glued down here first, that is in the kit. It was just for you to use on the edge of your paper if you chose, or on the top of a pocket. You could do many, many things with that. I didn't cut that quite straight. I got a little piece that stuck out. There we go. That worked. All right. So, got that inking. There. That's good. Now, this is the way it goes back in my book. And when you're flipping it open, you'll flip it and you'll see this prettiness first. And I'll have to decide whether I want to put something on here. This will be in the binding. So possibly I'll have one of those little figures I put on here. Now, this is the part you'll see at the back side. My idea for it is I took this little piece that was a cutoff, that beautiful little wreath. And anyway, I've put it on a piece of just regular cardstock that I printed out a picture on. And we're going to do the outside edges to make us a tuck. And that will be on the one side. And you can tuck anything in these. You can have little pieces of paper. You can have a little journal card. It could be anything. And we're going to go as close to our fold line as possible. Make sure I don't have any seepage. There we go. And our other side is going to have something kind of unique. It's going to have all these little strips. And some of them have little pearls on them from part of the kit. And then some of them are just that little Baroque look. But these were all cast-offs, pieces that were trimmed off. I didn't need or use. But my idea here is I'm going first in with this one. These can be various sizes. They don't have to be, you know, the same size, the same width, anything like that. It's just whatever you would want to do. You can do them all the same size if that's more pleasing to your eye. That's what we want to do. We're wanting to make it pleasing to the eye. We're also wanting to make sure we don't hinder our fold there. So, I'm going to make sure that goes down and stays out of the way. Then we're going to come in with this little skinny one and just go down with our glue. And I'll give you a heads up on how I intended this to be used. When I get to the end here, I'm going to put our beautiful, beautiful pearl one in. I'm going to have pearls elsewhere in here, so that will tie into the other decor that I'm going to have. I'm trying to have it the same width apart. There we go. And a couple more of these. Hope I'm not out screen. I have this tendency to be going back toward my body, so I apologize. And I'll when I cut, I have a tendency to go to the right and cut off screen. I haven't trained myself not to do that yet. I guess it's habits. Everybody has different habits. I have a trash can over here. I guess that's my habit, trying to hit the trash can with it. All right, this is our last piece. Oh, and I've got to be diligent on how I glue this down, because I don't want to glue inside, which I think I just did. Here we go. All right, so let me get this piece here, this piece here. Now, my intention for this is to be for a journal card where you can tuck it right in there. Oh, I was supposed to glue down in here, so that won't be any problem. I'm going to just go right in here, and all I got to do is glue down just one little strip of it in there. And that's all she'll take, because I didn't want it to go all the way through. But that's what this is to be. Is to be where you tuck in a journal card or a photo or whatever. And another unique way to do it is to, I should have had a piece of, do I have a piece of paper down here? Let me do it a little easier. So you go in here with a piece of cardstock or whatever, and you could weave it. I thought that would be kind of cool. So there was different ways you could use this little grid design. So I think that's going to be the last item we're going to do. Otherwise, we're going to run over. But if I've shown you anything that's different or new or not the average, I'd appreciate a thumbs up if you'd give it to me. And if you'd like to see more of the unusual, please consider subscribing to my channel. And to see another of my shabby journals, you could see this. I'll post you a link to this video. And to all my subscribers and viewers, here I'm wishing you a happy November, and thanks for visiting.